We're talking about movies. Alright, so Last of Us is a new show to HBO Max, adapted from the game of the same title, stars the Mandalorian Pedro Pascal as Joel and Bella Ramsey as Ellie. So my history, my kind of relationship with Last of Us, played it for the very first time during the early pandemic stages during my online physics class. I don't know if that's what I was supposed to be doing, but I had the physics class going, focusing on Last of Us. And I thought it was a very fun game, very entertaining. I thought the gameplay was good. It's a lot of like sneaking around. You have to get the materials to build the shivs, and you have to take out the walkers or the clickers, whatever they're called. And it was just a really good story, good game. So going into the show, I want to temper the expectations. Like, I feel like it's going to sound really negative, my comments about the show. So first off, I think it is a very well shot show. The fact that they could make it the way they did is very cool. I think just like the sets are cool, the actors do good, the makeup and stuff on the infected is really cool. I find it hard to get super hyped up about a show that I know everything is going to happen in it. And that's my biggest criticism of the show, is that it is beat by beat the game. And what I mean by that is, like, every single episode is a major plot point plucked out of the game. So what I think the game has over the show is that the game, in between the main story points, you're like creeping around the world trying to get from point A to point B. You got to take out all the infected in between, not get caught and all this stuff. The episodes of the show are literally just like the main plot points. Like, this episode is this episode where they go to the city and get attacked. This episode is where they meet this person. This episode is the one where they meet the cannibals. Like, there's not a lot of that in between in it. So it's just like kind of like the main points of the story. And knowing where the story goes, having played the game, I find it hard to get super hyped up and be like taken back by a show that I know everything is going to happen in it. There really are not that many infected in the show, which is a huge part of the game, which I understand that it's probably like easier to play the game, getting from point A to point B, taking out all these clickers, creeping around, stabbing them. I understand that that's more gameplay than watching a television show, but there's really not that many infected in the show. They are in the show in the early stages of it, and the middle part, they're like barely in it. I don't think they're in the last few episodes really that much at all. And I think that's just kind of odd to not have them in the show as much. It's mainly their beef with other people. And I just found myself really missing like the infected, and comparing that to the game, it felt like something was missing. And again, with the positives, the actors in the show are very good. However, I don't think that Bella Ramsey really screams Ellie to me from the game. Like, she kind of acts like her, the same kind of angsty teen vibe, but they don't really resemble each other. And I don't know, I just got kind of a different character vibe from her, just with the same name as the character from the game. I thought Pedro Pascal did good. Joel is kind of an easier character, I guess, to adapt, because he's just like a toughened old guy. But both of them did very well. It's just that I didn't really see them as like super direct adaptations from the people in the game. I will say I thought the first parts of the show were stronger than the rest of the season. I liked the beginning where you could see like the outbreak and what was going on with that, see how the town reacted to it. And that was just like a cool episode. Really, the first episode I thought was probably the best one. Because just as it got on, like, I mean, I would watch it every week, but I wasn't like, oh man, I gotta watch it. And like, I mean, I also watched all the episodes of She-Hulk, and that was garbage. But it's weird just because like, as it kept going, it wasn't like the show was bad, but it was just kind of like, I know what's gonna happen. It's just not like gripping me like how I think it should have. And like, not that saying it was a bad show, it was very well made and everything. It's just like, I thought that as it went on, it was just kind of more like by the books, this is what's happening. Whereas at the beginning, it's kind of like, okay, they made a show about this, let's check it out. And I just thought as it went on, it didn't have me as much as it should have probably. And you know, the outbreak in this universe happened in 2003, meaning that everyone in it never got to see episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which is the true tragedy. So what I actually think would be really cool for them to do in season 2, instead of adapting The Last of Us 2, which I did not play because right before it came out, I heard the leaks were bad, so I read them, and I was like, I am not playing this game. This is ridiculous. So I think what would be cool to do, instead of just adapting Last of Us 2, because I probably won't watch it if they adapt Last of Us 2, they could kind of make their own story. They could kind of fill in the gaps between Last of Us 1 and 2, and kind of that way it's stuff that people don't know what's going to happen. It could keep you kind of more on the edge of your seat because it's a whole new story. And I think it would steer away, because Last of Us 2 is very divisive also. It would keep you away from a lot of the story beats that would make people like me not watch the show and give something totally new. So there you go, HBO. There's your $1 million idea. I'll take 2% of that, but I think that would be good if they just kind of came up with their own ideas for the new season. And then maybe at some point they could get The Last of Us 2 and I'll stop watching them. So recommendation, would I recommend you watch The Last of Us? I'm gonna say no. I think this is the very first no review on my channel, and I gave a partial yes to Ant-Man 3, so that's where we are with this channel if I've lost all credibility. It's not a bad show. Maybe if you've never played the game and you're just curious about it, you may find it interesting. I feel like though, if you're interested in The Last of Us, play the game. I think the game is really fun. It's more original just because it's not taking the beat by beats, and it's like you're more involved with it because you're taking out the clickers and you're going through the story like on your own kind of. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, it's not a bad show, like I said. I think you could watch this and find it enjoyable. Maybe if you have HBO, check it out. But like, I would say if you're really interested in The Last of Us and the universe and everything, I would play the game instead of watching the show. So that was my review of The Last of Us on HBO Max. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of it. Maybe you thought it was good and maybe I'm stupid. I don't know, probably. Thank you guys for checking out the video. If you would like and subscribe, that'd really help out the channel as we're trying to grow. And I'll be back next time with another review. Have a great week.